What's up? I'm Ryan.
And I'm Michael. Welcome to All Day Unpacked.
Today, we're going to be talking about the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. As we kind of start to hone in on the NFL season, we are starting to wonder more who are going to be the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. And it's a slow time for moments, so we want to talk actual football here.
Yeah, so just real quick, though, the rule is it's how do we think they're going to perform in 2022? It has nothing to do with how they've played up until now. So no disrespect to the legacies, but this is our top 5 quarterbacks for this year.
I was going to say on my end, full disrespect to everything they've done in the past. Go ahead.
All right, let's go. Number 5. Now, my number 5 quarterback that I got, Matthew Stafford.
I'm not going to agree with that for right now, and I'll tell you why later, but I'll let that one slide for right now.
All right.
My number 5 is an up-and-comer, somebody who's proven that he can win in the league, but hasn't quite sold us on that he can do it repetitively. So my number 5 is Joe Burrow.
Okay.
And the reason why, and again, why he's my number 5 is because he proved as a young player that he can win some seriously intense games and get past some good defenses. So I definitely think he has earned his spot as number 5. Now, whether he can hold it up this season, I think he can, but obviously doing it 2 seasons in a row, that's kind of what we're testing here, but I think he can do it. Go ahead. Number 4.
He came back from an ACL last year and played really well. I mean, if you think about it, he probably wasn't even fully healthy until halfway through that season. So I agree with him being on the list. I have him a little higher, but for me, Stafford sounds like he's not on your list, but man, the guy, he was a good quarterback in Detroit. And then it just feels like once he got on a team that had some actual talent around him, and he got a few games with them, it's like by the end of that season, man, it was like they looked unstoppable. So,
I guess if you buy the whole team, you could probably be unstoppable.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, I don't know how they do it. I don't understand that salary cap magic, but they're they've got a team, and he is playing like finally we get to see like what he can do on a good team.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to say about Matthew Stafford since you opened up the can of worms. What I noticed from Matthew Stafford is that it always felt like if you watch, I'm a momentum player or watcher. Like when I see a game, I can see the momentum of the game. It's more of like what I like to call game flow. And what I noticed with Matthew Stafford is that when he's playing the game, it feels like in some of these big games, he's always like 1 second away from throwing the whole game away. It never feels like when you watch like a Tom Brady or like, one of these greats, it feels like they're always in control and you're just like, oh shit, here we go. But when you're watching Matthew Stafford, you're just like, ooh, is it going to happen? You just don't know if it's going to happen. And I feel like even with that whole team they bought everybody, even with all that, and home field advantage in the Super Bowl, I still feel like he was just like maybe going to give the game away, maybe not. So,
I mean, yeah, he had a game last season against the Vikings where he like threw a bunch of picks. And I mean, he's definitely had bad games, but it felt like more of those were like earlier in the season. But here's what I'll say. Like, if you want to talk about moments, that last drive in the Super Bowl, everybody knew he was going to go to Cooper Kupp every play. He did it. His throws were absolute lasers and he marched them right down the field for a touchdown. So here's what I'll say. It's like,
I'm going to say this. He needed a pass interference call that I still think he needed pass interference to get that ball in the end zone.
There it is, the zone defense and working inside.
There. You tell me.
That's what they called.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that was not like he marched them right down. He marched them right down and then he started to have some problems. All right. And I feel like he's a great quarterback. He can throw like some of those no-look passes. That's all great for show. But I'm talking about just straight up winning games and like being a great quarterback. And I'm going to tell you right now, he threw away the previous game too to the 49ers. It's just that the 49ers didn't capitalize on it. Because remember that pick he threw up to center field?
Stafford airs it out. Jefferson downfield. He's picked. No, dropped. Unbelievable. A drop by Jaquiski Tartt, and he cannot believe it. Uncontested, right into his chest, had it and lost it.
There was a hush that came over this stadium. Jaquiski Tartt, this is the desperation throws that we've seen in each of the 2 games by Matthew Stafford. I don't know if he's injured. but he hasn't had enough arm to really get the ball out in the 2 prior games when he's tried to. That ball was so badly underthrown. Jaquiski Tartt, it hits him right in the numbers.
Here's the thing. He's still getting some of the Detroit stink off. I mean, like, it's, he's got to get used to being on a winning team. He's been playing with the team where he has to carry it. So I feel like it's like he'll start trusting it. I'm looking for him to have another good year. Anyway, we'll move on. All right, what do you got for your number 4?
My number 4 is Russell Wilson. I feel like Russell Wilson has proven time and time again that he can carry a team. He's one of those guys that could be on a team that's maybe not as good and still show out. It's time and time again. He does it. And it's like you think, oh, the Seahawks might suck this year. Then they keep doing it. And now he's on the Broncos. And now he's surrounded by a lot of talent. And I got to think that I've got him at number 4 because he hasn't really done anything in a while since that Super Bowl moment where he threw the interception and he kind of choked himself. But I think he's definitely highly rated. Not as high as some of my other guys, but I definitely think he deserves a spot right there.
I mean, I can't argue too much with that just because I do like Russell Wilson. I don't think he's top 5. I think he's probably top 10. He didn't make my top 5, but I mean, he's a solid quarterback. I like him. I don't know. I just feel like, I haven't seen anything from him lately. I feel like he's kind of tapered off a little bit. Maybe Denver revitalizes him, but I don't know. Maybe he's kind of tailing off too.
I feel like he's now like he's the new Matt Stafford. Like he got put in a situation, probably not as much as Matt Stafford, but he got put on a team that's actually got quite a bit of talent. So we'll see how he does with that.
I mean, if I were going to think of the new Matt Stafford, I would think of Matt Ryan. Like, I feel like Matt Ryan is in a position. He didn't make my top 5 either, but I feel like there's a guy who's set up on a good team. They're just like a receiver away from being a Super Bowl contender. And that's what the AFC's stacked, but that's a good defense. I mean, Matt Ryan's a solid quarterback. Again, not a top 5, but he feels like he could have that same kind of success as Matt Stafford, that if the defense shows up for Indy, that could carry that team for the Super Bowl. But anyway, back to quarterbacks. My number 4 was your number 5. This is where I'm putting Joe Burrow. Again, I think he came off that ACL last year and played so well after. I mean, I did not think he would come back that strong. And so I have to imagine he's coming back now with a full offseason for that leg to be healthy. He's going to come back even stronger. Another year of working with his receiver core. The only one they lose out of that entire core is Uzama, who went down to where did he go? Jacksonville?
Jets.
Oh, the Jets. That's
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, that's right. Zach Wilson got him. I knew it was a rookie quarterback that got him. All right. Anyway, so they maintain a pretty solid top 3 wide receiver. I feel like he's just going to have another great year.
Yeah, I think so. I find it interesting, though, that you have Joe Burrow ahead of Matt Stafford. That's kind of an interesting one.
Again, this isn't based on last year. It's based on going into this year. And
I know. But I mean, who has Matt Stafford lost? Sounds like Burrow lost a guy and Stafford didn't lose. Well, I guess he lost Odell.
Yeah, he lost Robert Woods too. But they did. I'll tell you what, the Rams who they got Allen Robinson, and that guy. I mean, you think about how good Allen Robinson's been with terrible quarterbacks, including the one in New Jersey right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had no.
Oh, you're talking about my jersey?
Yeah, I'm talking about your jersey.
Well, since we're talking about top 5 quarterbacks, go ahead, keep it going.
He might make the top 5 that came out of Florida A&M or wherever he came from, but yeah. UCN, sorry. Anyway. All right. Number 3 for me is Josh Allen. And this is a guy who, I mean, you look at his first year in the league and he looked like he was almost, I mean, I think there were people who thought he was going to be a bust after that first year, but he has really come into his own and become a really solid quarterback. And man, I'll tell you what, that Bills Chiefs game last year where him and Mahomes are going back and forth. Wow. It's just like, if there's ever a game that showed me what talent he has with his legs, with his arm, he was so good in that. And anyway, I had to put him at number 3. So he's my guy at number 3.
He didn't make my list. I feel like he had an inconsistent year. I feel like he's had a couple great years, but he's been surrounded by talent and he plays in the AFC East, which has been a division of just shit. And I feel like he's gotten home field advantage due to it. And he's a great quarterback. To me, he's like number 6 or number 7. Mm-hmm. He hasn't really had to carry a team on his back like a Russell Wilson I'm not going to say Joe Burrow carried the team on his back, but I don't think he's had to do something like one of those two. He's always been in a good situation where it seems like, he has the ability to win a lot of games, and his defense, the Bills defense, has always played well. So I love Josh Allen. I love him. I like him he seems like a great person, but I'm not sold on him 100% yet.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear that argument, but yeah, I'm still keeping him at number 3. All right, who do you got for your 3 then?
My number 3 is Patrick Mahomes, and I feel like Patrick Mahomes is proven time and time again that no matter what the situation is, I mean, going back to the Bills-Chiefs game, it's just like, I mean, I get annoyed with Patrick Mahomes because I don't really like the Chiefs all that much, but when you don't like a team that much and you still respect the other quarterback, that tells you something. So the dude's good. He is, and it's not like I'm not enamored by all like the no look pass and all that bullshit. What I really like about him is the fact that when it comes time to move the team down the field and it's crunch time, that he doesn't flake. He always comes through, and he might throw a pick or two, but at the same time, the dude is just money when it counts. And that is what being a quarterback is all about. He's smart with the ball. Yeah, he'll force a few, but God, man, he's young and he's still got his room for growth is still exponential.
So I agree with you on all those. Patrick Mahomes did not make my top 5. He probably would have been my number 6, honestly.
Okay.
And the reason why is I think a lot of people forget how he started off last year. Like, he did catch fire at the end, but he had a real rough first 10 games.
He did.
And I think people are starting to figure him out a little bit. And then on top of that, I think every team in that division, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Broncos, every team is building themselves to beat the Chiefs and to beat Patrick Mahomes. And so I think you're seeing now the defenses, the AFC are starting to kind of catch up with Andy Reid and the Chiefs. I think this is the year where they kind of, I mean, granted they didn't, they wound up losing to the Bengals in the AFC Championship, but I mean, honestly, they could have lost earlier in that, in the playoffs, and they struggled in some places. So I don't know. I hate to say it, but I kind of got this feeling that he's going to take a step back. And this is a good segue into my number 2, because I think the heir apparent in the AFC West is Justin Herbert. And I think
you got him as your number 2.
Yeah, he's my number 2.
Wow.
And so I think he is going to make a huge step this year. I think he had his rookie year. I think he was inconsistent last year, but got better. But he was under, Staley, the new coach. So it was like they had this new coach. He was getting used to it. And I think now that he's got a full year with that coach, he didn't have any change in the offseason. He goes in this next year. I think he is going to be dominant. I think the Chargers are going to be a tough team to beat this year. I mean, they added a lot of quality talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think they're going to put him in position to win and just seal a lot of games. So I kind of expect Herbert to really shine this year. I know it's not going to be popular to put him over Mahomes like this, but that's the shot I'm calling.
Okay. Well, I mean, here's what I'm going to say. Like, I feel like he hasn't really shown that he can like win games consistently. I feel like did the Chargers even make the playoffs last year? They played the Raiders in that final game and they lost. I feel like the Chargers, what they did is they shored up the defense and they brought in a ton of dudes. And so now they've got, JC Jackson, Khalil Mack. So I feel like they might start to win more games, but I don't think it's going to be because Justin Herbert's winning the games. I feel like it's going to be maybe more their defense taking over. So here's my thought. I think the Chargers are going to be a tough team, but do I think that it's because of Justin Herbert? Not as much as I think it's going to be because of their defense. I feel like their defense is definitely going to step the fuck up and start
but I think that's what's
some
going to
games out
give
for them.
Herbert a chance to shine there is that he, like last season, it was like you couldn't count on that defense to perform at all levels. And so I think this year we're going to see, I think we're going to see him get a lot more opportunity to really shine. I think he is going to improve a lot as a quarterback. I think for me personally, he threw a few more picks than I would like to see out of my quarterback for my team. But I think he's going to clean up a lot of that. I think his decision-making will get better. I think you look at that kid's arm strength and his, just the way he plays, even his mobility is deceptively strong. I think we're going to, he's again, I think he's like a Josh Allen plus. Like, I think he's got that super strong arm. He's tall. He can make any throw on the field. And then he's got, he doesn't have the mobility like some of the, like a Russ Wilson in his prime type of thing, but he can move, he can get around.
Yeah. Okay. So that was your number 2.
That's my number 2.
Okay. So my number 2 is Aaron Rodgers. And I don't even think I really have to explain why he's number 1 or number 2. I mean, the dude's he's just good. I mean, people will debate and say that maybe he's choked in playoff games and whatnot. But again, it's like playing in Green Bay where it's outside and it's cold and this, that, and the other. It's like they've had good receivers, kind of, and then kind of not. It's just like, I mean, the dude he sells himself. He's my number 2, and I don't think I need to say anything more.
Yeah, and this is, again, a good segue. He's my number 1. I mean, like, the guy, he is just the best. Yeah. And as long as he doesn't have to play the 49ers in the playoffs, I think he should be all right. I mean, I do agree. Like, if you look at like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and you think about how strong and dominant they were as quarterbacks for Green Bay, it's mind blowing that they've only won 2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years or whatever it's been. I mean, so there is something to that, like, kind of Green Bay just kind of chokes in the playoffs. I mean, you look at that game against San Francisco last year and they scored 10 points. I mean, that's just, it's like, I don't know if they just had his number or what, but for him to only put up 10 points in that game was just crazy. Like, so again, but that's one game out of, the 18 or 19 before it, where he is just lights out and just owns teams and just, just destroys defenses. But so I don't know. I don't know if it's a performance thing for him, but here's the thing. I'm willing, like, there's no quarterback that doesn't have a bad game anywhere on this list. So he's my number 1. So
got it. Well, my number 1 is Blake Bortles, and no, I'm just kidding. My number 1 is Tom Brady, and it pains me to say it. I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but
I know
the whole thing is, and I don't get into all this GOAT shit. I'm not for that. What I'm for is just like guys who, like, he doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's smart with the ball. It's just, he does what he needs to do. And it's like every time the dude's got the ball, you think, are they going to win? That, like, you could literally have, Johnny Jenkins as your receiver, but somehow Johnny Jenkins is all magically going to make the catch all of a sudden and he's going to become a stud. And I've just never seen, in all my years of watching, somebody who can take these receivers that are not like household names and make them household names. And again, it's like, you got your Aaron Rodgers who can throw the ball. And I think his accuracy and arm strength are just second to none. I mean, like, he is like the best. But when it comes to just like, if I had to hand the ball to one quarterback in 2022 and say, get me down the field and win me this game, and I could count on to get me to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, that's my dude. And you know how much I hate the Patriots.
I do.
So it pains me to say it
for you to have to do this.
It is. It's a big step. It's like, it almost sounds like rehab for me.
I don't hate Tom Brady. And I don't hate the Patriots, but I didn't put him in my top 5 because I don't know why, but I got this feeling that he's going to wish, for some reason, something's going to happen where he's going to wish he would have stayed retired. Like, I get that he came back, but I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like maybe he should have just kept it, called quits. Like, I think he'll still perform well. I don't think he's going to like go down and be like the 23rd quarterback or something, but I think he's going to have an off year this year. I don't think he's going to be like wowing us. I think he's going to play well. No one's going to talk about benching him or something, but it's just,
they did last year after that Bears game.
That's true. Well, but that was, but again, I'm saying, like, I don't think he's going to play like that all season. I think he's going to have a decent season, but I don't think that he's going to be like, he's not going to wow us to a point where we just, like, I wouldn't put him as my number 1 for this year. I don't think he's going to play to that level. So
my opinion on that
him is one of my, I'm going to say I think he's overrated this year. I think he should have stayed retired.
Okay.
And that's no disrespect. Like, he is like, whatever, the GOAT, the best. He's won it all. He's done it all. But this year, this 2022 year, I don't know. I feel like maybe he's going to just kind of fall off a bit.
Got it. I think you're fucking wrong. I think you're so fucking wrong, because we go through this every year with this guy, and it's just like, and I'm the number 1 guy leading the bandwagon. Like, hey, he's going to fall off this year, and he just doesn't.
I know.
It's just, I feel like maybe he's just
switching
smarter
roles this year. This is the year that I'm on your bandwagon saying you're off it finally, and I'm on it finally. I'm saying this is it. Like, and I would never root for a guy to get injured, But I just this is the year where something like that's going to happen.
Injury could happen to any of our guys. So I mean,
I think I just feel like something. I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like he should have just stayed retired. But anyway.
I feel like what's his name? I feel like Josh Allen or Justin Herbert are going to be the two guys. One of those guys is going to get injured this year. That's what I feel like. I feel like there's too many expectations on those guys.
Yeah, and you might be absolutely right. So that's the fun of this, right? So
right. So you put it down.
That's right. We're putting it down, so it's on record. Now you can come back at us. All right, who you guys overrated now? Yeah,
let's talk about overrated. So why don't you go first? Why don't you tell me?
Well, I did. So Brady is one of mine.
Oh, he's one of your overrated guys?
Yeah, he's one of my overrated.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding you, man.
No, I think he will come on. Overrated?
I think he will be statistically not in the top 10 quarterbacks this season.
Overrated when the expectations are to the ceiling. I mean, yeah, you could say somebody's overrated because
the guy is the greatest ball player of all time. But
what is he not?
I'm saying this year he's not going to finish in the top 10 statistically.
Even if he finishes number 11
or passer rating or whatever, touchdowns.
Right. Okay, well, what if he finishes number 11 and they go to they go deep into the playoffs? Then is he overrated?
Happen, but it's going to happen because of the talent around him. He makes other people around him better. I'm just saying Tom Brady won't have that year. He's not going to have that year this year.
I don't even know if he had that year last year.
He was in the top 10, I'm sure, statistically.
I don't know. I don't know. They were talking about he didn't even know what down it was. They were making fun of him.
He's getting old.
They literally were. They were saying maybe it's time for him to go. It's again, statistically, whatever. Statistically, it's just, do they win games? Do they make it to the playoffs? And do they win Super Bowls? That's what they're there to do.
They're not going to win the Super Bowl. They're not winning. They won't even make it to the championship game.
Do they think they'll make it to the playoffs?
Yeah, they'll make it to the playoffs.
Okay.
They're in a weak division. So
will they make it past Super Wild Card Weekend?
Possibly, but they're in a weak division.
And they're overrated?
The Falcons, well, tell me who's going to beat them? The Saints? So you think Jameis Winston's going to dethrone them? Or
no, but again, when you start comparing these teams to them, it's look at the division. Here's what I would tell you to think about: schedule. Who is in that division?
Yeah,
Falcons.
Again, I'm not saying
Saints,
they won't win games.
Panthers.
I'm not saying they won't win their division. I am just
they could potentially sweep that division. Now, I'm guessing they'll probably go. They could go 5-1, but again, when you win 5 games in your division, that is setting you up for some good stuff. So again, if you're playing the Saints and the Falcons and these teams, the Falcons are rolling with Mariota. It's going to be a little bit of it's not going to be perfect. So they're going to get some defensive picks. Tom Brady's going to get extra touchdowns, things like that. Now, if he gets hurt, yeah, you're right. Then Gabba comes in and he cleans up. Maybe he's your new top 10 quarterback. I don't know.
Okay, so Tom Brady had more passing yards last season. He was the number 1 quarterback for passing yards. No one threw for more yards than he did.
Our regular season or postseason?
Regular season. No, regular season. No one threw for more passing yards than Tom Brady.
Okay. So,
and then if you look at his quarterback rating, let's see. He may not have been in the top 10 QB rating.
Again, it's you can class. It's like accounting. You can move things around however you want to try to make it.
No,
fit.
He was probably in the top 10. But God, well, here's a surprise. His quarterback rating last year was lower than Jameis Winston's. Sorry, Mr. Winston. I'm sorry I disparaged your name.
Yeah. Well, how many games did Winston play in?
Let's see. He played in, I don't know, but I would say from his attempts, probably about 5. Yeah. Still, that's a pretty good stretch of games for Jameis Winston. 5. If someone were to tell me that even with 5 games, I'd say if it was 2 games, but 5 games for Winston to have that good of a rating, that's not bad. Anyway, point being, I don't care. I'm calling it Tom Brady, underperforming. That's it. Moving on.
Overrated for me, Lamar Jackson. Here's the reason why. Right. Lamar Jackson is fun to watch. He's electric. He can win games, but consistency is the name of the game at quarterback, and I don't see him being consistent. Again, when he's playing the Browns and it's late in the game, can he run around and make shit happen? Yeah. Can he throw to Mark Andrews? Yes. Could he throw to Marquise Brown? No. Could Marquise Brown catch? No. The Ravens have this like looming problem, and I don't know what it is. It's like they got this smash mouth defense that seems to give up deep passes at the end of games. And if they're winning the game, they can hold the lead. But when it's time to come back, man, I mean, the Ravens can sometimes do it, but not consistently like Aaron Rodgers.
Marquise Brown's not there anymore. He's gone.
I know he's not there, and there's a reason he's not there. But so they got somebody else in his place. I think it's going to be more of the same. I don't see the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. Now watch them win. I don't see the Ravens I feel like it's going to be the same old story with the Ravens. It's like they're trying to get better. I feel like they have a solid team, and I think if you took any one of my top 5 quarterbacks and you put them on the Ravens would be the number 1 contender for the Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah, look, I like Lamar Jackson. I agree with you. He's entertaining. I think he's a good quarterback, but he is not consistent in the pass game. So, I mean, right. I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, let me just be clear. I'm calling Tom Brady overrated, but I would still take Tom Brady over Lamar Jackson. So,
right.
I mean, yeah, Lamar is, he has a lot he needs to improve. Like he's got a lot of work to do still, but here's the thing. The one thing I'll give him this year is it's a contract year. So he's got a lot of motivation to play well.
Yes, he does.
So,
but again, it's like motivation can only take you so far. I compare Lamar Jackson to somebody.
Money is funny like that. I'm just saying
money doesn't catch the ball for you.
No, that's true. But they got that. What's the kid's name that they drafted that was pretty decent? So we'll see.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I'm going to compare Lamar Jackson to somebody that people love a lot and cherish a lot. Lamar Jackson is a little bit like Barry Sanders. Can make awesome plays.
Yeah.
But if you just need 4 yards at the end of the game, Barry Sanders could either get you 40 or lose you 4. You just don't know which one you're going to get. So there's that lack of consistency. But again, his highlights are fucking awesome. They're fun to watch.
It's funny you bring up Barry Sanders because I literally watched a Barry Sanders highlight video today. And like outside of him being just amazing to watch run, the one thing that stuck out to me that I just could not get over was I would guess that Barry Sanders was probably horse collar tackled 100 times in his career, because just watching the highlights, there was like 20 of those plays where anytime he got by people, that was all they could do to try to catch him would be reach out and grab that horse collar. So if he'd have played in today's NFL, he'd have been unstoppable. I mean, I can't even imagine if they couldn't horse collar tackle him. I can't imagine how many more yards he would have run for. I mean, penalty yards alone, he would have earned them. Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. Who's your other overrated quarterback?
My other one's going to be Desean Watson. I think a lot of people think he is like going to come into Cleveland and just ball out and play so well, but there's been a lot of like distraction, a lot of stuff going on with him. I'll just say it. I think that Cleveland's going to wish they never would have got rid of Baker Mayfield. I think that Baker Mayfield will probably have a better year than Desean Watson this year. I'm going crazy today.
I'd like to piggyback.
I'm calling Mayfield over Watson. How's that?
I would like to piggyback on that and say this. I feel like the Desean Watson trade is the next Herschel Walker trade.
Yeah.
I didn't even put Desean Watson on the list because I don't even think he's going to play. But what I think is I feel like, and I want to put this on the record, I feel like when this is all said and done, like maybe Desean Watson comes out and maybe they go 10-7 this season. But when it's all said and done, it's going to go, burr, it's the Browns. They always fuck it up. And I feel like they're going to get in there. He's going to go downhill, and the Texans are going to walk away with a bunch of draft picks, and my Jaguars are going to suffer because the Browns are a bunch of flipping idiots.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I cannot believe like the Texans, what they got for a guy who was in legal trouble like that right there is nothing short of amazing. I mean, seriously, they completely saved everything that Billy O'Brien fucked up for the Texans was undone in an instant by not only, trading away a guy who was going to be unpopular for what he did and a huge media circus, but they also got a ton of draft picks, and they got a quarterback who is like kind of sneaky good in Davis Mills. Like, I think If Davis Mills doesn't perform like he did last year, which would be the second best rookie quarterback behind Mac Jones, I don't think that, that trade gets made. So, man, I'll tell you, the Texans got lucky. They got lucky. And the Browns, I don't know why they wouldn't just keep, I've heard Baker's too slow, Baker's too small, Baker's this, but the dude beat Pittsburgh, got him in a playoff game. I mean, got him to the playoffs for the first time in 18 years. I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to do it for him.
I hope Desean Watson. I mean, the Browns have always been so bad. I hope Deshaun Watson pulls this out, but I just don't feel like I feel like it's just going to be like he's going to be on another team in 2 years or some crap. It's just going to be I feel like it's going to be a big old train wreck. How many draft picks did they give up for him?
So it was Watson and a 6th round pick. And the Texans got 3 first-round picks, a 3rd round pick, and 2 4th-round picks. So 6 picks for Deshaun Watson and a 6th round pick.
I mean, gosh, the Texans.
That's not quite Herschel Walker level, but 3 firsts is pretty severe.
I mean, if the Browns, imagine if the Browns have 2 terrible seasons in a row. I mean, the Texans could potentially wrap up multiple first round. I mean, they could build an entire team off of this. I really feel and if they, you remember how Jimmy Johnson knocked out, I mean, it's not going to be exactly like Herschel Walker. They don't have that, they don't have the amount of draft capital going in. I think the Cowboys have the number 1 draft pick anyway, but I feel like this could be something that takes the Texans out of sucking and brings them to a decent level. I feel like with Lovie Smith, I feel like the Texans would actually have a shot. So,
I mean, I like Lovie Smith as a coach. I'm glad to see him get a second chance. If for no other reason, I love seeing that beard on the sideline every Sunday. So, I mean, So, but the Texans, again, it's crazy how the Texans got bailed out somehow, some way.